Hi, everybody. I'm here today with another leader next door, Gerry Brin. Gerry Brin has been a dear friend of mine for at least 10, 11, maybe 12 years at this point. We
Yep.
met in a networking group and we became fast friends. I think the biggest reason because of his heart. So, Gerry, what I'd like to do right off the bat, if you tell everybody what you did for a profession. I know you're retired now, but what did you do through your working life?
Okay. I'm a retired CPA, and through my working life, I did a few things. I worked for a small CPA firm downtown Chicago in the 60s, early 60s, and then from there I went and became treasurer and controller of a company. I was there for 14 years, doing accounting work and paying bills, et cetera, and doing financial statements. Then I left there and became a trader at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. I was there for 9 years. Then after that, I went back to being an accountant, forming my own CPA practice, and that worked out quite well. After a while, I merged with a little larger firm, and then we merged again with another firm, and then by the time I retired, that firm merged with a national CPA firm. The name of that firm is called Wipfli. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but they're in, I think, all the states. And
Okay.
that was it.
Well, thanks for that. So you've been very busy across your career and did a number of things. One of what I'd like you to do is share with everybody the story around your nephew and his passing, please.
Okay, sure. My nephew was diagnosed with leukemia in, I believe it was 1977. And he went through all kinds of tests. And then he went to a hospital in Seattle, Washington, I forgot the name of it, where they did a bone marrow transplant. Now, what they do with the bone marrow transplant is they bring your immunity down to zero before they can do the marrow transplant. Back then, if you did this, there was a possibility you might get something called host versus graft disease, which is a pneumonia that only comes out when your immune system is way down next to nothing, and that's what he got, and that's what he died from. That was 1978.
How old was he at the time?
He was 10
How old
years
were
old.
you? How old were you at the time?
I was, let's see, 78. I was 30, 39. Is that right? Yeah, about 30. Yeah.
And this was your brother's son, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And so what action did you take after your nephew passed?
Well, after my nephew passed, I joined an organization called the Leukemia Research Foundation, which is a local Chicago area charity that raises money to find the causes and a possible cure for leukemia. They've been in existence since, I believe, the early 50s and are still going strong today.
And what did you, Gerry, what did you personally do?
Well, what I did was I formed a ski trip where I would bring guys out to Colorado to ski for 5 days. And that started in 1985. And it started after, go ahead.
Well, I just want to make clear to everybody, so this was a fundraising event that you started for the Leukemia Research Foundation, correct?
Yes, exactly right.
Okay.
Exactly right. It started off as 4 guys just going to Colorado, to Steamboat Springs, Colorado for a long weekend to ski. Then the following year it became 7 guys. And the year after that, it became 12 guys. And I said to my brother, who joined in the group, I says, why don't we add $100 a guy and give that money to the Leukemia Research Foundation. And that's what started it.
And so how many years have you been doing that now, Gerry?
Okay, February 2020 was 35 years.
And at this point, and you're still skiing yourself, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how old are you now?
I'm 81.
Okay. And then the next number, so these are all very impressive numbers, but I'd like you to share with everybody, what's the amount of money you've raised to date for the Leukemia Research Foundation?
About $1,600,000.
So one of the points I wanted to make, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here, is because you're an amazing leader that lives right next door. And you've made a difference in the world with your life. And you've done it over a short period of time. So first off, God bless you and thank you for the work you've been doing. And the next question I'd like to ask you, Gerry, is, so in all these different roles you've had, you've always ended up, and even when you and I met in the networking chapter, B&I, you've always had some sort of leadership role. And so my question to you is, what's the top 2 or 3 things you might suggest to somebody to be a great leader?
Oh my goodness. I would think to try to help in some way other people. I think that's a starter. By doing that, you get to meet a great number of people, and you get to appreciate what everybody else has to offer. I quite frankly, I don't really know of anything else, really.
Well, and I think that was a great answer, because it speaks volumes about who you are, speaks volumes about your heart, and you've had a lifetime of giving to other people. And I've been one of those people, blessed. For those of you that don't know, like I said, Gerry and I have known each other a number of years. I actually do some of my presentations and consulting for nonprofits for free. And so Gerry actually got me into the Leukemia Research Foundation. I went in and did a full day training for them at no cost, because they're a nonprofit. And so, Gerry, is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up for the day?
Yes, there is. For those of you who donate money to a charity, you write a check, send it in, and then you forget about it, not really knowing what the charity has accomplished. Well, on one of my trips to Steamboat, Colorado, a fellow joined us, and he is a past president of the Leukemia Research Foundation, of which I'm one also. I used to be president some years ago. And he is somewhat of a macho kind of guy. So one morning he says to me, "Gerry, I want to go on this one run with some of the advanced skiers." I says, "Frank, give me the name of the run." He does. I says, "Don't do it. It's too bumpy. It's too steep. You might fall and hurt yourself." He says, "No, I'm going anyway." So sure enough, he goes, and sure enough, he falls and tears up his knee. The ski patrol comes to help Frank. Now, Frank, I forgot to mention, which is very important, is a 2-time survivor of leukemia. He's had it twice. Beat it once, but then got it back, and he's in full remission as we speak. I still hear from Frank. So the ski patrol come to help him, and Frank gets to talking with this one ski patrol person, and he finds out this guy was diagnosed with leukemia about 4 months earlier and has taken a drug called Gleevec, which we funded the initial research on 20 years ago, and it's keeping this guy alive. So that's my story, and it says everything about everything.
Well, I agree. I'm a little choked up, because you're right. That's how it comes full circle, and often we don't know how far it reaches, right? I like to call it the downstream, right? The things that you've been doing even past your life are going to go downstream and help people that you'll never know. And I think that's the real power and beauty of giving, right? And I think you hit the nail on the head. If you want to be a great leader, you need to know how to give and make a difference. And again, I'd like to just a quick summation. So Gerry, over the course of his adult life, started this nonprofit, and it's just a ski trip once a year, but he's raised over $1.6 million for leukemia research. And so if you think you can't make a difference, Gerry is living proof you can make a difference. It's just a little bit for a regular, consistent period of time. And that's what Gerry's done. He started with $100. Now, Gerry, tell us one more quick story. And I think, isn't it like a ham or a salami or something is raffled and the bidding gets out of hand, right? And guys are bidding like $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 to buy a ham or something?
No, here's what it is. On the trip, we have an auction. And we get some real nice auction prizes. And one of the auction prizes, or two auction prizes, come from the Bellagio, Las Vegas. But that's a whole other story. At any rate, we've been auctioning off a 2-pound kosher salami.
Okay.
It typically brings in between $6,000 and $12,000. And the last guy to get it, or excuse me, guys make bids and say, no, keep it going. Rebid it, and their bid counts toward the amount of money we raise. So typically, like I said, we raise between $8,000 and $12,000. 2 years ago, one of the fellows who normally joins us couldn't make it. He's an attorney, and he calls in during the auction and bids on the salami $26,000.
Oh my gosh.
So that year, with all the bidding, we raised about $30,000 for a 2-pound kosher salami, which you can buy in a store, I'm guessing for $8 or $9.
Yep. Well, that's awesome. Well, Gerry, again, I want to say thank you. This has been very enlightening, very inspiring. Like I told you, you've always, I love your hugs. I love you, and you've always continued to inspire me, and you inspire me to do better, and I wanted to share your story. So thank you very much for taking the time, and tell your lovely wife, Helen, hello, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Louie. Thanks a million, buddy. Take care.
You too, Gerry. See you soon.